Just in 10 minutes, we are going to discuss about paginated reports in Power BI. This will be a PL 300 topic and this video is the first part on this series. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. Power BI paginated reports are descendants of SQL Server reporting services, which was first introduced in 2004. Power BI paginated reports and SSRS have a lot in common. If you are watching this video, I assume that you have some basic knowledge on SQL queries or are willing to learn them. Power BI paginated reports are not created in Power BI desktop. They are built by using Power BI Report Builder, which you can download, and you can see a link on the right hand side top corner on the screen. Power BI Report Builder doesn't require a commercial license at this point of time. You can publish your paginated reports to your personal workspace. If you don't have a Power BI Pro or higher license, you can share paginated reports with either a Power BI Pro or a Power BI Premium license. Installing a SQL Server is not covered in this demo. Getting data into paginated reports is different from getting data into Power BI desktop. Please note that there is no Power Query editor in Report Builder. Data can be collected from multiple data sources including Microsoft Excel, Oracle, SQL Server, and many more. However, after the data has been collected, the different data sources cannot be merged into a single semantic model. Each source must be used for a different purpose. For instance, data from an Excel source can be used for a chart, while data from a SQL Server can be used for a table on a single report. Since there is no Power Query editor in Report Builder, if you need to clean the data prior to creating a report, you cannot do it in Report Builder. In such a situation, you can load the data into Power BI desktop, clean the data, publish it as a Power BI dataset to Power BI services, and then use such datasets with Report Builder. You may wonder, Raja, can you tell me why should I learn about Power BI paginated reports? There are many reasons for that. You can use paginated reports for operational reports with tables of details and optional headers and footers. When you need to print the report on paper, or when you want an e-receipt, a purchase order, or an invoice or the like, paginated reports can be used. Assume that you have a table with 250 records and you want to print the report over 10 pages. Paginated reports will be a good choice. In paginated reports, you can have customized sort orders, clickable headers, and URLs in results, which allows for simple integration with custom reports. You can have headers and footers as per need. You can create paginated reports from a wizard, such as a table or matrix wizard, a chart wizard, or a map wizard, or you can simply create a blank report. After installing Power BI Report Builder, please check your View tab. Ensure that you check all necessary check boxes such as report data, properties, grouping, ruler, parameters. I prefer to have all of them checked except grouping, which I can switch on only when needed. You can check or uncheck any option at any point of time. When we speak about report data components, built-in fields are available such as page number, page name, report name, and so on, which can be used in your report. There is a section called a parameter. A report parameter provides a way to choose report data and vary the report presentation. With parameters, you can provide a default value as well as a list of available values. Report readers can change the default value to some other available value, or they can even type in the parameter text box to search for values. We do have a section for images. An image is a Power BI paginated report item that contains a reference to an image that is embedded in the report, stored in a database, or stored elsewhere on the web. An image can be a picture that is repeated with rows of data. Say, for example, you have different products in different rows, and the images of each product can be shown in the report. You can also use an image as a background for certain report items. The other two data components are data sources and data sets. Paginated report data can come from multiple sources of data in your organization. The first step in designing a paginated report is to create a data source and then data sets that represents the underlying report data. Each data source includes data connection information. The next information is about data sets. Once you define a data source, which is merely a connection information, you need to add data sets. You can write a query to add data sets if your data source is a SQL database or similar. You will be able to invoke a parameter using your query while adding your data sets. When you speak about queries, a query can be as simple as selecting all the fields from a table in the SQL Server database, such as select and then a star symbol, then from name of the database object, the fact sales table. Or it can create an inner join with another table and then define a where class which will create a parameter as you can see in this image now. Shortly we will be moving to the demo in which this will be explained. So let us not spend time on this except for the fact that you need to know that we have a dimension states table and a fact sales table. Both of them contains a column called state ID through which they can be connected together. It is a good idea to provide a default value for the parameter which can later be changed by the user. Please note that this parameter value comes from your dimension table. Okay, let us do a quick demo now. I have my SQL Server, a database called PR, a table called dimension states, and this dimension states table contains a column called state ID. Similarly, I have a fact table called fact sales, and that also contains a column called state ID. So these are the two tables I am concerned with. Let me open my Power BI report builder. As mentioned, there are many options for me to create a report using wizards or using a blank report. Let me open a blank report at this point of time. Before doing anything, let me go to the View tab to show you that I have checked all the options except grouping. I'll talk about grouping a little later. In the report data components, there are 5 folders available: built-in fields, parameters, images, data sources, data sets, about which I have already explained. Please make a note of the parameters area which is currently empty. And this place where my cursor is being hovered now is the body, or this is the place where I am going to create my report. The first thing I need to do is I need to click on my data source, right click, and then I would like to add a data source that should come from my SQL Server. The name of the data source I can give anything, or I can leave as it is, called data source 1. Now I am going to build a data source now. I have typed the server name. I have decided to make use of Windows authentication. I have provided the database name, and let me click OK. Again, let me click OK. And then I can see that I have defined a data source. This is the first task that needs to be done, and it has been done successfully. The second task is to go to the data set, right click, add data set. Then I could see an option here called name of the data set, that is going to be by default data set 1. Let it be. I am not going to change it. And this should be coming from my data source I have recently defined, that is called a data source 1, which is nothing but a SQL Server database called PR. And from that database called PR, where is your data? I am going to pull the data using a simple query. Let me type that. So the query statement is like this: select everything. That means select all the fields from a database object called fact sales. I think probably you remember that we have the fact sales table with us. Alright, let me click OK, and then you can see that I have pulled all the fields from the required table. And that is possible because of a very simple query that I have written here. In case I don't want all the fields to be populated, I only want specific fields, I can make changes in the query. I can also make changes in the query in such a way that I will be able to connect to the states table, that is a dimension table, so that I can filter the data for a specific state. For such reasons, I'm going to replace this query with a query something like this. I'm going to declare my fact sales table as FS for simplicity, and then from this table called FS, I'm going to pull only 5 fields. Then I'm going to make a statement called inner join, by which I'm defining my states dimension table as DS, and I'm going to connect these two tables via the state ID column, which is the common column, using the SQL command OR. There is a where class. I'm going to remove this for the time being. I'm going to click OK. Now you can see that there are only 5 fields available in the data set, because these are the 5 fields I need. When I look at the parameter area, there is nothing. Let me right click here, dataset properties, and then I'm going to provide the where class, wherein I'm going to say I want to create a parameter by which I would like to filter the data, and the parameter should come from my state table, which is a dimension table, and the name of the state should be used as the parameter. Have a look. I'm going to click OK. Then you can see that in the parameters pane, there is a placeholder called state pops up along with a place wherein I'll be able to provide a state name. So let me click on my parameters now. I'm able to see the state here. Right click, parameter properties, default values. I'm going to specify a value by clicking add, and I can give any name. So these are all states from India. So let me start with the Kerala, assuming that that is the default state with which I would like to create reports. I just provided a name for that. Let me now work on the report area. I just click on this text box called click to add title, slightly resize that, and then in this space, I'm going to insert an image, let us say the logo of my company, something like that. I'm just going to draw a placeholder for the image, and then maybe I can get an image from my system, and that should be available in the report. Just for example, I'm typing something called a sample report. I can make it bold, I can make it slightly smaller in font size and all that. Now, I need to click on insert, then table, insert table, I can draw a table. By default, it comes with 3 columns and 2 rows, and when you click, you will be able to see a place called tablets, and then I'm going to say insert column to the right. Again, I'm going to say insert column to the right. I just inserted 2 columns, and then I'm going to click on this option wherein I'll be able to decide what should be my first column. I want the state ID to be my first column, and then order number as the second column, order date as the third column, quantity, and finally bill value. I can adjust the widths according to my requirement, and then I can hit an option called run. Now I'm able to see a report popping up. The name of the state is called Kerala, state ID is 12, and the things are coming up. I'm able to see the report. I can go back to my design view. Let me go to my view tab. Let me speak about the grouping area now. I'm going to click on grouping, and then there is something called row groups. There is something called column groups. The row group refers to these 2 rows. So these 2 rows are the row groups areas, whereas this state underscore ID, order number, order date, these are all called column groups area. I'm going to click on the advanced mode. So when I click on order number, or I can click here, you will be able to see things are changing. So please make a note that you will be required to make use of the grouping once in a while. Normally it may not be required every time. Now I'm going to click on the static row from the row groups, and then I could see this first row is getting selected, and when I move to properties pane, repeat on new page, by default it is false. I'm going to change it to true. Then I click on my home tab, click on run, then you'll be able to see the column headers are available in every page. Previously it was not available, now I made it available in every page. I can convert this into a PDF document if I am interested. I can say print, I can give a name for this. Let me call it as a PR sample by CSN, and the PDF document called PR sample by CSN is now open. I'll be able to see information here. So the second page also contains the information called column headers. Let me now save the file as PR sample by CSN, and it will be saved with a secondary name called .rdl, a paginated file. And let me quickly publish this to my Power BI services to a workspace called YouTube samples in the name called PR sample by Raja or PR sample by CSN. I'm going to say publish. The file is now published into my Power BI workspace, and I can see the parameter here. Instead of Kerala, if I want to change this to some other state, I'll be able to do that. After reaching the end of the report for Kerala, I'll be able to change it to, say, let us say Tamil Nadu. And then I'll be able to create a report for a state called Tamil Nadu where the state ID is 23. So this is a simple introduction about creating a paginated report. I believe I have covered most of the basic points, and probably we will have one more video about pulling data from a Power BI data set. This video is just an introduction to paginated reports. Hope the demo gave you an idea about creating your own paginated reports from a SQL Server database. The paginated report can be published to Power BI services along with parameters. This was demonstrated to you. We will upload a few more videos on this subject in the days to come. Please stay tuned. Thanks for watching this video. See you in our next video.